So just imagine, in the year 1050 AD, this was one of the largest cities in the world. And I am not in Europe or in Asia, I am in the middle of the United States. 10 miles away from St. Louis, Missouri, we got here Cahokia, the largest Native American site north of Mexico. Now, during colonial times, there were a great number of theories as to where Cahokia Mounds came from, as this area really isn't prone to natural hills and especially mountains. And people were curious as to how all these mountains came to be. People pitched the idea that this was one of the lost Welsh tribes from the ancient UK who built Stonehenge, which seemed kind of fitting. People also pitched that these were the lost Atlanteans from the city of Atlantis that was mentioned in ancient Greece. People also pitched that this was built by one of the ancient tribes of Israel because people just couldn't understand how not even the local Native Americans really could explain how this got here, how this giant city and civilization came to be way out in the middle of nowhere with absolutely no clues to what happened to them or where they went. So this is what is known as Monk's Mound. They believe it was built sometime between 900 and 950 AD. It is still about 100 feet tall, which is pretty incredible considering this was made by nothing more than just human hands. I mean, if you're actually scaling this thing, it's really tall. I mean, this is just the very beginning. Look at that. All built by human hands. So it's not really until you've climbed Monk's Mound that you realize just how gigantic this place really is. Right over my shoulder, you can see the city of St. Louis in the background. And I just cannot believe you can see it all the way from here. That is 10 miles away. And I can see it plain as day. I can make out the arch and the bridge and everything. Like, this is one gigantic mound. So here at the height of Cahokia Mounds, there used to be a large temple at the very top, right up here, which is known as the Fourth Terrace. And they believe there used to be a big tent that spanned about 40 feet up in the air. So just imagine seeing these rolling buildings where there's now green hills and just seeing this large 40-foot tent spiraling way up to the sky. And you have to wonder, like, this must have felt like the center of the universe to the Native Americans who lived here at the time. So I am here at the center post of what is known as Woodhenge. And just like Stonehenge in the UK, this Woodhenge was set up to basically mark where the sun rises, which I'm in pretty much a perfect alignment with where it is now. Now, there are many instances of Woodhenge existing. I think there are 6 different Woodhenges here at Cahokia Mounds. So these posts were put up on the same spot as the 3rd Woodhenge was, but there are other Woodhenges. I think one of them was over by that mound, but I still think it's very interesting they just put all this stuff here and they just kept rebuilding it over the years. I believe the current rendition we're seeing right now was what was correct about 1100 AD. So I am here at mounds 60 and 59. It's also known as twin mounds. That's 60 right there, 59's right behind me, and you can just barely make out the big monk mound in the background. But they're not entirely sure why these mounds are here. They have not actually done excavation, but they believe this was supposed to be like another temple right across from the larger one on Monk's Mound back in the day. So much like Mexico City, this area was built all up on a watery area. I believe the river used to be closer to this area. It's not very much anymore, but I mean, 1,000 years has gone by for the river to recede. I mean, there used to be a big causeway around some of the mounds here. And I just think it's interesting they would have would have taken the same inspiration as the Aztecs in Mexico City did with building their city with just a bunch of causeways and fresh water all around. I think that's pretty interesting. So this is Birdman's Mound. I understand it's really not that impressive today, but keep in mind, 1,000 years of erosion has happened since then. However, Mound 72, which is Birdman's Mound, is famous because so much stuff was found in it. 20,000 seashells were found in this mound right here. And also hundreds upon hundreds of shark's teeth. 53 people were buried in this mound. Them tearing it apart and discovering all this stuff probably eroded the mound quite a bit. But I just think this is very interesting. I mean, there's just a lot more than what meets the eye here. They believe that there were 3 different mounds inside this mound before it all got buried over. And one of them was the Birdman, and they found high levels of strontium inside the Birdman in this mound, which means they don't believe he was found around this area because strontium is definitely more found in areas with more coastline around the ocean. And obviously we are nowhere near the ocean. So whoever the Birdman was, he came from a heck of a long way to have gotten here. Now they clearly didn't put a lot of effort into like rebuilding this, but really just did this as a marker. But there used to be a big stockade here, which was like a military fortification that somebody would build. So this city was so big they even had a garrison. And I'm sure at this time in ancient America, this was pretty much like an unknown or unique thing to this city, which is pretty amazing when you put that in context that much larger cities in Europe had stockades and this place had more than one. This is just the south side one. So this area is known as the Grand Plaza, and we know based on how the land was flattened and the archaeological evidence behind that, that we believe this used to be like a big ball court for a game called Chunky. And they don't fully understand how the sport may have worked, but I could just imagine just thousands of people gathered on all these hills just watching this game below. Kind of like a modern day stadium, and just the excitement that brings. Like this must have been like Yankee Stadium back in the 20th century, you know? So this is Cahokia Mounds State Park in Collinsville, Illinois. It is the site of America's lost city, and I say a particular historical gem. And I'd say that if you have time, check it out. It's definitely a unique experience, and there's nothing quite else like it in the United States. Thank you so much for watching and taking this time with me, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.